Well, fun for today. You might actually think that all I ever do is work on this car. Oddly enough, I don't. I do a lot of driving on it. I just put 40,000 kilometers on it since I did the lower ball joints, and they're gone again. I wasn't too pleased about that, but they had a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty on them, so I'll be getting a refund for them. So I got 2 new lower ball joints, 40 bucks a piece, and we will be putting these on today. They're pretty simple, so bear with me and we'll do this. Okay, so we removed the wheel, and we're on the passenger side right now. So whichever side you're working on, turn the wheel all the way in that direction so you can get to the top nut on the ball joint, lower ball joint. So we're going to undo that one first. It's a 22 mil, and I'll be back. Okay, because of the space in here, you can initially loosen the upper ball joint nut with the closed end of the wrench. Actually, I opened it up a little too far. Initially loosen it with the closed end, and then you're gonna have to use the open end to open it up further. Loosen it further. So you want to loosen it till there's about 3 or 4 threads showing between the nut and the top of the control arm. If you can see that there. And you're going to take a heavy dead blow hammer or a ball peen hammer. And what you're going to do is hit the control arm right there on the control arm. You're not hitting the top ball joint nut, you're not hitting the ball joint, you're hitting the control arm. And that vibration is going to release the ball joint. Hard to do with one hand, hold on. Okay, trying to do this and hold the camera at the same time. Let me see if I can get a good angle on this. Yeah, just hold it. Maybe a little awkward. There. Okay. I see the ball joint. The nut has now taken up the space. That means the ball joint. God, this light is horrible. The ball joint is dropped down. So now we're just going to loosen it the rest of the way, and this will pop right out. Your suspension is supported by a jack stand. The lower control arm is supported. Now, as the ball joint nut loosens, I really hope this is enough light. I apologize. As the ball joint nut loosens, when it gets to the top of the threads, it may become sticky and just spin on itself as you're trying to loosen the nut. Just take your jack or a jack, put it under the ball joint, jack it up, and push the ball joint itself, the tapered ball joint, back up through the control arm, lower control arm. That'll hold on to the ball joint, the ball joint end as you're releasing the nut. Sorry, I am bag tired today and I'm not speaking too well, but anyway, you can understand me. Then you can remove the rest of the nut, and when you take the jack out, the ball joint should just fall down. Now, as you can see, the lower ball joint is almost all the way out here, and now we can take the 22 mil and take off the back nut on the lower ball joint, and I just loosened mine really easily already. And again, I apologize for being so tired today. I couldn't speak if you were paying me. This is just going to pop right off, and then we will tap it out with a hammer once it's loosened about most of the way, so the threads aren't exposed anymore. We're going to hit it with a hammer and push it forward. Okay, so I've removed the rear nut, and it's just the bolt that's showing for the rear attachment for the ball joint, and you can just tap that out with a hammer now. Gears have been on there forever. It might take a little persuasion. Might have only been on a couple months, so there it is. It's just tapped in. And now we're going to support the rotor control arm assembly here. We're going to support this whole thing as we're going to jack it up. You can jack it up from the center of the rotor here. Jack up to take some weight off of it, and then you can pull the ball joint right out. Okay, I apologize. Running out of light here. I had to run and do something else really quick. Anyway, top ball joint bolt in first. Put the nut on, put it on just loosely, and then you're going to line up the back. It's going to be hard to see in this light, or lack of light. the back of the lower bolt, attaching bolt, has that locator pin. That's a bit of a pain to line up, but you do have to put the top bolt in first. And then, like I said, put the back bolt through, and then just kind of put a jack under the control arm, move up and down, and you'll eventually wiggle that locator pin. I think you can see it from here. I hope you can see it from here. Apologize again for the light. Maybe I'll have to do this video again. Anyway, you can see the locator pin, and you just, once it gets into the hole, then you just tighten it in and pull it in, and it will snug up. Then you just tighten the two, and you will be done. Now, when you go to do the final tightening of your upper bolt, the upper nut here, upper nut right there. Put a jack underneath the ball joint, push up on the control arm so that the control arm will retain the ball joint, or else it's just going to spin in there. So put some pressure on it, push it up into the so it's staying there, and then tighten the ball.